Visiting here today with Jaelyn Whaley. She is an SDSU Extension Sheep Field Specialist. Well, Jaelyn, thank you for joining us here today on WNAX. How are you doing?
Good, definitely. Like we were just talking about, enjoying some cool weather, and it's always nice when things are a little green out west here. So
absolutely. Well, speaking of that, have you guys gotten a little bit of rain here over the past? Because I guess you're out in western South Dakota, right?
Yep. My husband and I ranch in between Faith and Newell, and we have managed to catch some of those showers. I know there's a lot of places that haven't gotten that fortunate, but things don't look too terrible here. We can always use more moisture, but
for sure. Yeah, you can never complain about rain, for sure. So
yep.
I guess with that, you're an extension sheep field specialist. So just going to kind of talk about the sheep industry here in South Dakota, which we were just talking before this. It is quite a pretty big industry here within the state. So I guess if you could just kind of describe the industry in South Dakota right now, I guess what would you kind of say about it?
Yeah, I think, South Dakota ranks 6th in the nation in sheep and wool production. And I guess we're extremely fortunate and in a very good position when it comes to both the lamb and the wool industry here in South Dakota. We're fortunate that we have really good market access. We have really good sale barns that support our industry, strong ethnic market that supports our industry. But then also on the wool side, we still have access to shearers and wool markets that they don't have in a lot of other places in the country. And so we're set up for a lot of success when it comes to raising lamb and wool here in South Dakota.
Gotcha. And that's so important, just for any agriculture commodities, just to have a market for it. So, I mean, what are some of the most popular markets that our lambs go to, or do we export a lot? I guess what's kind of the scoop there?
Yeah. So Newell Shipyards and Sioux Falls Regional are our two markets, and truthfully, if you look nationwide, they're actually two of the largest lamb markets in the country as well. So a lot of places don't have the luxury of even having a small sale barn nearby. And we do have some small sale barns that still have sheep sales as well, even if they're kind of random and sporadic. But, I would say Newell and Sioux Falls are definitely two that, even as an industry, they kind of gauge some of our markets on as well.
Gotcha. And is it more popular for lambs to be sold on live, or can you contract them out, sell them on a grid, kind of like what you do with cattle?
Yeah, we can do both. Mm-hmm. The sheep industry is unique in that we really only have a couple major packers, and so most of the lambs that I know of in South Dakota are being contracted with Superior Farms, and so that definitely is an option. But I would say by and large, a lot of the lambs coming out of our state are going through sale barn routes. We were just talking before this too about direct marketing, or at least having lamb directly from a sheep producer, and that's growing as well with our growth in farmers markets and things like that. But for the most part, most lambs are going to be going through kind of a traditional sale barn route. The grid system in the sheep industry is a lot different than the cattle industry. I would say because we're a smaller industry, we haven't put near the emphasis on creating this very uniform carcass, which was the whole purpose of the grid system in the cattle industry, right? Mm-hmm. And so we do have a system where there's premiums and discounts, but I wouldn't say it's as robust as what we see on the cattle side. But there definitely are lambs still contracted that way as fats as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Kind of cool to know, because it's you always hear about you always see, I've heard about Sioux Falls Regional and stuff, and now they have a really good lamb market, but yeah, just kind of curious on where it all goes, So, just kind of switching gears here. I know we're probably finished up with lambing. Lambing is in the spring and fall, I think. But did you hear about how that went at all this spring, kind of from your extension producers at all?
Yeah, I think by and large everybody had a pretty good lambing season. There are still some of our West River larger producers that pasture lamb that are kind of just finishing up lambing now. But by and large, I mean, we had a relatively mild winter, which always helps. I think I heard that comment a lot. Well, this is a really nice winter to lamb. So, yeah, it's been really good, and people have been reporting that they've had higher than average lambing percentages and those kind of things. So, yeah, I think everything went really well this spring.
Good to hear. Yeah, and I know kind of on the, like, we raise cattle at home, and you know, we kind of struggled with a lot of respiratory sickness and pneumonia. So I know just kind of with the dry year and just I don't know, it was kind of a bad year for respiratory things. So I guess on the sheep side, do you really see much of that, or was that kind of the same this year? Or I guess any thoughts there?
Yeah, it definitely poses a risk, and I guess now that you say that, I did hear some of that kind of stuff. Just general trying to keep lambs healthy. That, you know, that late spring we were having super drastic temperature fluctuations, and that's always super hard on our young livestock. Is when we're seeing freezing temperatures at night and really warm temperatures during the day. We definitely did struggle with some respiratory, and I think on the sheep side we really struggle. Usually it's a Clostridium agent that we struggle with, which is why we obviously vaccinate for it. But the muddy conditions and constant changing temperatures definitely didn't help any of that.
Yeah, for sure not. So that was probably kind of one of our biggest issues. Just at home, we lost a lot of calves just from respiratory issues. So I was just kind of wondering if it was kind of a all species thing or what. But I guess kind of as we move throughout the summer, I mean, anything you're working on in extension or anything coming up that you kind of want to just, you know, plug for the listeners at all?
Sure. We do have a couple things coming up. So this year in Huron is the National Targhee Show and Sale, and we will have a program there focusing on basically having a more profitable operation, how to use your enterprise budgets. We'll have a speaker in from Farm Credit Services that's going to talk on, like, how do you prepare for working with a lender, and we'll talk about how to make, like, strategic changes in an operation using some different budgeting tools and those kind of things. So that'll be on July 18th in Huron at the State Fairgrounds. And then on the 25th of July is the South Dakota Sheep Growers Association yearling ewe sale. And so we always have have a extension program there as well. And so that'll be at Magnus Livestock on July 25th. And we're kind of covering a broad area of topics. I'm going to cover a little bit on some of those diseases that we can manage for, that maybe we don't have a vaccine necessarily for. So things like scrapie and preparing for just in case we have an outbreak of foot and mouth disease, some of those more of the biosecurity type stuff. And then we actually just hired a brand new sheep and goat specialist in Brookings as well. And so he's going to talk a little bit about ewe nutrition. And then we have a forage specialist out of Pierre that's going to talk on ewe lamb development, on forage specifically. So a pretty big program there as well. And then both of those programs are followed by some kind of association sale. So.
Gotcha. So it sounds like a pretty busy summer upcoming. So, yeah, and all that can probably be found on their extension website, right? Just if we want more information.
Yep. It can be found at extension.sdstate.edu.
Okay. Sounds great. Well, with that, I guess anything to kind of wrap up on or leave our listeners with? Anything I missed? Or I guess, yeah, that's kind of all I have for you. So cool.
I don't think so. I think I guess the only other thing that has been kind of a hot topic is since cattle prices are so high, I've gotten more and more questions about people incorporating sheep somehow into a cattle operation or, buying some ewes or contracting some ewes for pasture management, those kind of things. And so I guess I would always say, don't forget to consider some sheep. They're definitely cheaper than bred heifers right now. So
yeah, they
or
are.
Cattle, any of our cattle right now. But that has been some growing interest, which is exciting on the sheep side. But
gotcha. And I guess if somebody would have questions, they could always reach out to you or any of their, I guess, where would they go if they would just have questions on that?
Yeah, if you have questions, you can reach out to me. You can also reach out to Dr. Ryan Sperling. That's our new sheep specialist in Brookings. Both of us are more than willing to help you. You can get our contact information on SDSU's website, but it's probably easier through the extension website, so that extension.sdstate.edu. I believe in the top right corner, you can find like our experts page and find us there.